athletes that have done that, that honorary doctorate.
Yeah,
You never know. Anyway, Robert Hogg, who was a former football player and is going to talk to us about his own experiences with career transition, as well as what he researched in putting together his book on the topic. Obviously something that we probably don't talk enough about in this field and really learn about, because it's really instrumental to the athletes that we work with.
I'd like to thank Dr. Toshman for this opportunity. We've been in contact like the last couple of months. I know the hurricane really slowed down a lot of our progress. So it's a good opportunity for me to be out here. Just a background on myself, I know you guys probably like, who is this guy? What's he doing here? How did he find us? Background on me, I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. Lived in Memphis most of my life. Memphis, if you haven't been there, it's kind of like Opelika, but the whole county. So it's different, I put it like that. So I lived in Memphis, known for barbecue, rhythm and blues. Elvis is from there. It's a lot of history. Martin Luther King was actually assassinated there. So it's very big on civil rights. It's part of the South, so everywhere in the South is pretty much civil rights. So from there, I moved to East Tennessee, which is totally different. It's a completely culture shock. It's like South Florida is to North Florida. It's a little more conservative. It's just different. Now, in Kingsport, which is the city I lived in, it's the Tri-Cities. I played football there. I ran track, played basketball, baseball, a little bit of everything. It was nothing to do, just to keep me active, keep me, away from trouble. And I always enjoyed playing sports. So from there, I lettered in all those sports, all state, all region, in football and track, and baseball, and I just had so much opportunity to play sports at the high school level. So I started getting recruited. My first choice was Georgia Tech. It's a very hard school to get into. I wanted to be an engineer there, but it didn't work out. And the school that found me was a school similar to Berry, Tusculum College. They're Division II. I played only 1 year there because I was like, this is crazy. Like, my high school is better than this. But I learned so much, and I had bigger dreams and bigger aspirations. So I walked on at Middle Tennessee State University, which is in the suburbs of Nashville. And from there I walked on, and I'm not sure if any of you guys come from a sports background. Well, most of you guys probably are. Extremely hard to walk on at Division I and then keep your focus on playing sports and graduating. And you have to persevere through so much because you're not the favorite on the team. There's scholarship athletes there. There's players that they recruited. So you have a lot of adversity you have to go through. And one of my goals was playing professional sports, or at least getting the opportunity to try out. And I happened to make it. 14 guys walked on with me, and out of the 14, I was the only one who had a pro day. I had 15 NFL teams there: Tennessee Titans, the Dolphins, the Saints, the Cowboys, and pretty much the biggest interview of my life. And I did terrible. It was about 34 degrees out there, and if anybody knows, when it's really cold, it's harder to loosen up and really perform. So I had the 40, the bench press, everything you see at the combine. I experienced it, and but I still built some momentum. I had an agent at the time. I had Canadian Football League tryouts. I had Arena Football League tryouts, and then from there, I remember I was in Atlanta at a Canadian League tryout, which cost me $100 for the Edmonton Eskimos. So I'm there, and there's 400 to 500 people there. And I'm like, wow, 400 to 500 people for 4 spots. And it really started to resonate in my mind, like, there's not that many spots, and there's a lot of people here. I go to another tryout, 500, 600 athletes. And this is athletes from Alabama, Mississippi State, all the way to D2, D3 NAIA programs. So seeing that process, seeing all these athletes, seeing all this talent, and not many of them really had a plan. Most of them were just, all they knew was playing sports. So from there, it started to really make it deeper, like, what am I really going into life for? Like, what's my next step? And then from there, I really wasn't in a good place. I was working actually at a car manufacturing plant called Johnson Controls. We made vehicles for Nissan. So if you have like a Rogue or a Altima, Nissan, I probably built your car seat. So it really wasn't a good spot because, you know, I played sports my whole life, just graduated college, and you had just bigger aspirations. And I'm at a car manufacturing plant with high school dropouts, felons, some more I wouldn't say low lights, but people who just didn't have dreams or, you know, they didn't really want to go anywhere. And you're online, you're actually interacting with them, and they're like, oh wow, man, like, I got to get out of here. You know, like, what do I do from here? So from there, I kind of started to, you know, really soul searching and what I really wanted to do with my life. And I took a leap of faith, and I moved to Miami. This was actually 3 years ago. So I moved to Miami, and I didn't know anybody but one person, a teammate of mine who was a yacht broker. And he's like, yeah, bro, you know, stay on my couch, you know, I'll take care of it. I get here, I don't know anybody, I don't have a job, all I have was everything else in my car. And his girlfriend moved down. He's like, you know what, man, you know, one of you guys gotta go. I was like, all right, man, you know, I've known you for this long, it's gonna be her. He's like, yeah, man, you gotta go find somewhere to do, find some place to stay at. So from there, I kind of, you know, really just been making it from that point. And you know, I've met some really interesting people, really got on my feet. I wrote a book. I also do construction. I'm a project manager at a Fortune 500 construction company, and I also have a startup construction company at the same time. We specialize in ground-up construction and interior renovations for villas and condos. So that's pretty much just the background of me. I don't want to elaborate too much. I kind of want to interact with you guys, see, you know, who all I have in the room. You ladies, you start on this end.
So you want background?
No, just, you know, name, you know.
Life story. My name is Britt. I'm a second-year grad student here in the program.
Okay.
I'm Lauren. I'm a first-year grad student here.
Okay.
I'm Bree, also first-year grad student.
Okay.
I'm Carly, also first-year grad student.
All right.
I'm Jazzy, first and a half year kind of, and I'm from Tennessee as well, from the Franklin area, so definitely heard of. And Tusculum was in my conference when I was an undergrad, so.
Nice. Okay.
I'm Natalie, I'm second year.
Okay.
I'm Matt, I'm first year.
All right.
I'm Cisco, I'm on first year as well.
All right.
I'm Laura, I'm a second year and I'm from Germany.
Nice.
I'm Ashley, I'm a second year and I'm from Minnesota.
Okay.
Andrew, faculty from Canada.
Okay.
Do you know the team this time?
I know the school very well.
I'm Quincy, I'm the second year from Vegas.
Okay.
I'm Kim, I am a faculty member as well.
How was that thing? No, it's
I wasn't prepared for that one.
Okay, so I want to get into, you know, pretty much what motivated me and who I was really writing the book for. When I first moved here, just a lot of notes and a lot of experience that I wrote down. Just a lot of stuff I just happened to write down. And then as I would talk to people about it, or individuals would, hey Rob, I'm having the same experience that you're going through. Can you help me out? So I was really helping more people than, no.
Keep going.
All right. So I was helping more people than I really thought that I could. Like I didn't think that. All right, what do I really know? And then when I come to think about it, I'm like, I have a lot of experience of overcoming a lot of adversity. And that's what a lot of people really relate to, how to get over steps and how to get through certain scenarios in their life. So I was really writing a book for myself. If I had an older brother or I had an older sister, what would they really told me? And some individuals have, they have the opportunity, they have older person in their family who went to college and played sports. And they're like, while you're in school, you need to really take care of this, you need to take care of that. I didn't really have that opportunity. And so in my mindset, I want somebody to prepare me for that day. So as I prepare for that day, if I had an older brother or older sister, what would I want them to say to me? What would they want me to prepare for? We want you to, all right, study this, study that, prepare for this, prepare for that. But at the same time, you can translate that over to the real world. And that's what a lot of athletes really fail, or they don't really see because they're stuck in what I like to call identity jail. They don't really know who they are. They don't really know their identity because all they ever done is be an athlete. And I've always thought of myself, oh, I played football or I played basketball. I was never a football player. I was never just a basketball player. I happened to make a choice to play the sport, but that wasn't all who I was. So, and a lot of athletes are really caught in that. And once that structure is gone, that academia, that sports, that team, and that's all that they know, it's hard for them to really find themselves. And that's right there was the core that I was trying to really speak about. So more about my award-winning book. I have a lot of interviews from NBA players, NFL players, collegiate coaches, and collegiate, what was their name? In the student enhancement centers, my bad. Like the tutors and the counselors, because they pretty much help the athletes graduate, So got a lot of Q&A from them. What would they tell prospective student athletes? Because I do most of my speaking to high school and freshmen, and I know you guys more like coaches and counselors. You might have clients. You might have somebody who you're grooming. So I got a couple questions. Who do you guys think the modern student athlete is? Just, what do you think about that? Anybody? No?
From what perspective?
From the modern student athlete, like, compared to 10 years ago, 5 years ago, like, how is the modern student athlete different from how they were 10 years ago or in the past? What distractions do they have? What influences do they have that's different? Like, just an open dialogue. What do you guys think?
Social media?
Social media?
They probably have a lot more pressure put on them because I feel like, well, I don't really remember what it was like 10 years ago, but in terms of like college sports and everything, it's blown up into such a huge thing, and I feel like they have a lot more pressure. If you're on like one of the big teams, like in the SEC or whatever, you probably have a lot of pressure to perform better and like, so I don't know, I think maybe it's
I think there's a lot more pressure. It's a lot. People want to make that step. People want to get to that platform quicker. They now know how much work it takes to get there. And social media does a great job of hiding the work that is needed to get to those levels. You know, you can take a picture with somebody, oh, you know him? Okay, you making moves, but it's not as easy as that. Anybody else?
I feel like these days it's, well, like I said, I don't remember 10 years ago as much, but it seems as though it's like a lot, either you have a lot of student loans or you have scholarship. So I feel like the pressure does come from maintaining that scholarship. And if you can't maintain the scholarship, a lot of athletes, remember at my old undergrad, a lot of them a soccer team got wiped out. They had to bring in a new soccer team, and a lot of those people were distressed because they were like, where am I going to go to school? I can't pay for this, this university and all that, so.
I definitely agree. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. I mean, bigger schools, gotta fund it, and loans are nasty.
Real.
Yes, they are. I have a couple of them, but they build your credit, right? Okay, another question I have is, what do you guys think about, I did some research, NCAA order says there's 8 million high school student athletes. 450,000 of those play at the collegiate level, and only a small fraction plays professionally, all levels of professional. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's kind of crazy because we've, talked about this in class several times, because a lot of athletes, I don't want to say they're overconfident, but they just, I think, are so set on their future in sport, and they might switch their major, or they might, I even experienced it at my school in undergrad, a D1 school, like they would switch and then they got hurt or something happened and they're done, and it's like they go into like, who am I? But then they also kind of like don't really have a plan for what's to come next.
Definitely. It's scary to me as I see those numbers. I didn't know it was that alarming. I didn't really know. I actually was a part of that 450,000 that actually made it from the 8 million. I wasn't a part of the fraction that made it from the 450,000, but I can only imagine the pressure. I mean, I have several friends who are in the NFL and in the NBA, and it's just nonstop pressure, and they don't know how to cope with it. They don't know, how to vent, how to let the pressure from the world and the pressure from their family. Like, what do you do when everybody's really relying on you? And on a mental level and on a psychological level, I can only imagine how scary that is. And a lot of athletes, tend to use substances to as a crutch. So it's alarming to me when I see that. And every time I have an opportunity to speak to an athlete, I always let them know. Like, I don't want to scare them, hey, don't follow your dreams, it's not gonna happen. Nothing like that. But the lessons you're learning and the structure you're learning playing sports will take you